Okay.
Welcome to our regular listeners and any new friends we have today to the Doctor's Call. We hold this call every Tuesday at noon with our host, Dr. Kurt Fisnick, who we lovingly call Doc Fizz. And our doctor has 30 years experience of helping people with their health and becoming optimized to be more than what they can be, or what they were, I guess. We do work with a company that is called Sisel. It's an international company. It has a huge manufacturing facility in Utah, USA, and creates effective and non-toxic products. So if you hear us mentioning products, that's where the products come from. And if you had a friend invite you to this call or share this call with you, you would get back with that friend to discover how you could look into more information about those products. So today, Doc, we are traveling to Michigan. We're so excited that you're going to be here to do an anti-aging workshop with us. And we're just going to do some questions and answers today. And if people have questions, they can use the chat box in Zoom to ask their questions, and then we'll answer them. But we have a few questions here, Doc, that other people have already asked, so we're just going to go ahead and get started with those until other people ask, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. We were discussing with someone recently, could she take the age pill while nursing? And in your explanation, you shared with me each ingredient and kind of the natural source we would get that from just in our diet, you know. And so you were saying, well, nope, this, and nope, that's not harmful, and that would be like eating this, and that's not harmful. So if you could just run down that little list that you shared with me, that would be great.
You're talking specifically with the H pill?
Correct. Age pill.
Okay. Well, I just happen to have a bottle with me.
Awesome. I bet you do.
I'm looking at it right now. You know, so when we're looking at the different ingredients, you know, like the alpha lipoic acid, it's a fatty acid. It's an essential fatty acid that our body needs. You get it from a lot of different kinds of plant sources. Beta alanine also comes from plant source. L-carnosine is an amino acid. We get ours from a plant source, but a lot of times you can get it from meat as well. And your hydrochloric acid, that's you know, that's all of these are plant-based, you know. So when you're asking where they're coming from, they're all plant-based. And I think the main question that you want to know is you know, what do they actually do in the body? So like nicotinamide riboside, it's an activated form of niacin. Niacin is vitamin B3, and beta alanine and the L-carnosine and the tryptophan, all of these work together to make it so that your body produces better energy, so that you have more hydrogen, you have more electrical activity in the body. But also what it does is they found that it cleans up the glycation, it cleans up the lipofuscin, which are really the byproducts of living, right? I mean, I'm in my truck right now. I pulled over on the side of the road here, and I'm doing this call. And as I'm sitting in my truck with the engine running, the air conditioning going, my truck is emitting fumes out the exhaust pipe, right? And that's the byproducts of burning gasoline as energy. When you burn the gasoline, it produces carbon monoxide as well as other toxic gases. Well, in your body, we have combustion as well. When you're burning sugar as an energy source, it's doing the same thing. It's producing toxic byproducts, and those get deposited in the body and things like that. But when you're burning sugar as energy, it creates something called glycation. And what glycation is, it's a sugar coating that attaches to protein. And when it attaches to the protein, like to the genes in your body, what it does, it makes them sluggish, and it can actually make them inactive. And so when we take the H pill, what it does, it strips that glycation off the protein, and now the proteins can go to work. So if that's a protein in your brain, you can see why we're getting so many testimonials of people saying, oh, they have more energy. They can think more clearly. Their memory is improved, just like I noticed. And then the other thing is that when you burn in fat as energy, right, that's your two sources of energy. When you burn fat as energy, then what happens is now you produce something called lipofusion. And lipofusion, again, it's the byproduct of burning fat as energy, and it just kind of creates a sludge. And and the sludge gets down into the combustion chamber, basically, of your cell, into the mitochondria, and it slows down that whole energy production. So I hope I answered that correctly, without getting way into so much science with people like we did last week.
Right, right. And speaking of last week, we talked about, I think it was methylation. And some people have a genetic condition that they acronym MTHFR, and there was some confusion about whether they were able to take the H pill or not. And you covered that very thoroughly last week. But it seems people are still a little confused about that, and you wanted to clear that up today.
Yeah, I think that people hear those big words and it confuses them, and rightly so. Rightly so. Most people, they hated chemistry. They hated science when they were in high school. I remember when I went to North Dakota State University for mechanical engineering, and the first quarter that I went to school, they said every freshman has to take chemistry 101. And I'm thinking, well, some of these kids are going to school for pottery, and some of them are going to school to be, things that just don't have anything to do with science. Why would you make them take chemistry 101? And it wasn't as easy as people thought. You hear 101, you think, oh, that's going to be easy as pie. But it was difficult for some kids because they didn't do any they didn't take any chemistry in high school. I remember in my high school chemistry class there was two students in the whole class. Me and my friend Todd. That was it. Nobody else took chemistry. And so I can imagine people went into that class just going, oh crap, what am I taking this for? And then they get on the call last week and they bring back those bad memories of when they were in high school or in college chemistry class. But the thing about it is that, like Andrea said, they're finding that when you take your mom and your dad and you put them together and they make you grab one part of a gene from mom and one part of a gene from dad. And what happens is sometimes the genes don't mix quite well, right? It'd be like trying to mix an apple tree with a Russian thistle, right? You're going to have purple colored flowers on an apple tree. It's just not going to be, your apples are going to be all thorny. You're not going to be able to eat them, right? And sometimes genes just don't mix properly. And so when Andrea mentions the MTHFR gene, basically what that is that's a gene that says that you can't process folic acid properly. Your body just has a problem with it. And so what happens is that some people have taken that little bit of information and all of a sudden they blow it up into a horror story, and they say, oh no, you can't take this, you can't take that, and that isn't the truth at all. That isn't the truth at all. Very few people are actually not able to take a product because of their genetic disorder. God just didn't put us together that way. He didn't put us together in a way where we can't do it. But sometimes you need to take some additional things along with it to actually make it work better. and so some people are saying, well, like, I don't notice the same results that, that Faye got, or I don't notice the same results that Andrea got, or I don't notice the same results that, that so-and-so got. What's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? Is the product not working? And the answer to it is that maybe you need to add a little bit of the right kind of folate. the 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, right? And say that word 10 times fast. But 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, what it is, it's an activated form of the folic acid, and we have it in Spectramax. So I just tell people, you know, if you're going to take the Age pill, Harvard says that over 90% of us are missing key essential trace minerals. And I'm going to say that again. Key, meaning they're important. Essential, meaning that your body can't make them. Trace, meaning that you don't need very much of it. So Harvard says that over 90% of us are missing key essential trace minerals, right? So if you're a prudent adult, you'd go, okay, well, wouldn't it make sense to take minerals, right? And Spectramax has 74 trace minerals. It's more than any other vitamin mineral product I've ever seen on the market. I've never seen anyone like it. And then what we've done is we've activated that as well, so your body can actually use the minerals. Because like I tell people, right, you can't just go grab a rock. I mean, I'm here in the parking lot. I see rocks laying on the ground. Why don't I just grab a rock and suck on it? You know, wouldn't I get the minerals out of that? Absolutely not, because my body's not designed to pull minerals out of rocks. But what your body's designed to do is it's designed to pull minerals out of plants. And why is that? Because the plants emit a certain kind of an acid called fulvic acid, F-U-L-V-I-C, fulvic acid, which is different than folic acid, right? It's not the same thing at all. They sound the same, but they're not. And the fulvic acid, what it does, it dissolves rocks. It dissolves minerals in the soil, and now the plant absorbs the mineral. That's why you can watch a tree growing out of the side of a rock or out of a rocky mountain, right? And then when we eat the plant, we get the mineral. And so what Tom Sr. has done when he designed Spectramax is he included fulvic acid, because that's the way that our body actually absorbs those minerals. And so I like the Spectramax. In answer to Andrea's question, is that because it's got the 5-tetrahydrofolate along with the minerals, so that in the fulvic acid, so your body can utilize it, and that is, for most people, that's plenty to make them kind of get by that genetic disorder. Now, if you've inherited two genes, if you inherited a bad gene from your mom and a bad gene for your dad dealing with the folic acid, right? Then what that means is you might need to add even a little bit more additional 5-tetrahydrofolate, and you can get that. I mean, you could just go on Amazon and really order it. It's 5 tetrahydrofolate, and so it's 5H. Well, I don't know. MTHFR, right? So you can order it on Amazon. You can get it there, and that'll take care of it. So Andrea, I know I kind of went around in a big circle there, but I came back to answer your question. You can absolutely take the Age pill if you have that genetic disorder. Absolutely. Are you muted out? Andrea? Andrea, you muted yourself out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you muted yourself out again. Don't do that.
I'll try not to. I was saying my Spectramax arrives today, and I'm really excited about it. I see Faye has her hand raised, so I think Faye might have a question.
Yes, her question is that she's asking about Lyme disease. She's been researching it a little bit. It's kind of complex, and she wants to know, what can we do as far as, like, we can't say cure or anything like that, but what can we do as far as helping people that have Lyme disease? What can we do to help them out? And the answer to that is this. So Tom started working with a lot of people out in New Hampshire and Pennsylvania where Lyme disease is really prevalent out there. A lot of people have it. And some people were so bad off that they just weren't functioning anymore. I mean, I've heard some horrific stories of people that have had it. And so Tom was working with them and just trying different little ingredients, try some of this, some of that. And eventually he came up with a formulation, and it's called Avenger. And Sisel Avenger was designed specifically for people that have Lyme disease. And how it works is that I had an email just come through, and I had a brain fart there. But what happens is that there's an ingredient that melts the covering on top of the bacterium, and when it melts the covering on the bacterium, now it allows the other ingredients to actually kill the bacteria. And so that's what we have in the Avenger is we have those in there, and we have it in the right dosage, in the right quantity. Because a lot of times what happens is that these vitamin companies, they'll sprinkle a little bit on like fairy dust and say, oh, it's in there, we got that too, but they don't put the right amount in there. And so with ours, we actually put the right amount, so we have the enough, so it melts that covering, that shell on the bacterium, and it allows it so that it melts it, so that the body's own immune system can now get in there to work. And then what we've included is some Chinese medicine and some Native American medicines like red root and things like that have been proven to bump up our immune system. So not only are we melting the covering, the shell of the bacterium, but now we're going in there and we're bumping up the immunity of the host, of the person, so that our immune system can actually go in there and destroy the bacterium that causes the Lyme disease. So that's how it works. Now, in answer to Faye's question, is there anything that we can do to help a person live comfortably? Well, the answer to that is that while we're busy trying to kill this stuff, right? I mean, you can imagine that a person is pretty sick when they have Lyme disease. If you know anybody has Lyme disease, they're pretty sick. And so as you kill off the bacterium, it's gonna probably make the person sluggish, right? Because if you're healing up from the flu, you get pretty tired, you have joint pains and things like that. So the thing that I would do is I would also add the triangle of life, right? Because one of the things that happens is that when these things get in your body, these toxins get in your body, what they do is they block the receptor sites from allowing you to absorb minerals and vitamins. So like I was talking about Spectrumax, it would be important to add Spectrumax, right? And then the other thing that's in Spectrumax is that we've got 40 antioxidants in there, right? And when you look at antioxidants, a lot of people don't realize it, but what does an antioxidant do? Well, it neutralizes the free radical. But when you neutralize one free radical, now you create another free radical. So you neutralize that free radical, you create another free radical. And that's what antioxidants are doing, is they're going through this process of neutralizing, creating, neutralizing, creating. And so if all you're taking is vitamin C, for example, right? Or if all you're taking is glutathione, all you're doing is you're neutralizing one reaction. And that's not good enough, because now you have those free radicals. Now if you don't correct that, then that's going to steal an electron. That's going to take a receptor site. That's going to cause a problem of its own. And so Tom included 40 different antioxidants in the Spectrumax, so that you're creating, you're destroying, and you're doing this 40 times. So what happens is that by the time you get it down to that 40th reaction, what's happened is that the free radical's so weak that now your body can just say, yeah, let's just get rid of that. And it fixes it. You're right. Again, I kind of get long-winded, but I want people to understand that. And then on top of it, that, you know, while you're sick with Lyme disease, chances are your body hasn't been taking care of some of the other things, which is repairing the DNA. And that's where the Eternity comes in, because the Eternity has resveratrol, and resveratrol has been shown to work through the SIRT1 gene, and it repairs damaged DNA. And then, of course, the other thing is that you can't have a chronic illness without having inflammation, and so fucoidan is just so important in all of that. So I would say that if I had Lyme disease, if my mom had Lyme disease, I would say Avenger, and I would say Triangle of Life. I would those 4 products right there, no doubt about it. That's what she would be on. So hopefully that answers your question, Faye. Andrea, back to you.
The Avenger is not just simply for people who have Lyme disease, though. It would help anyone.
Yeah, I take it every single day. And
Okay.
the reason why is because when you take a look at it, when you take a look at some of the research that's out there, 40 years ago, researchers were saying that it wasn't, you know, that all bacteria basically had this shell. And what it did is it allows the funguses and the bacteria and the viruses, it allows them to hide in your body, and that's what's so difficult. Think about it like somebody who has ear infections, for example, right? If you've ever known somebody that had a child that had ear infections, right? They'd put them on antibiotics, the ear infection would go away. A couple weeks later, your kid's sick again, and you're like, well, you know, and the parent would say, well, yeah, he got another ear infection. And so they'd put him back on antibiotics again. The ear infection would go away. And then they'd put him back on antibiotics. Then the ear infection would come back. And this constant cycle, right? And so you got to start to ask yourself, did they really get rid of the infection? Did they really get rid of the bacteria? No. What they found is, and this is what the research is showing, is that bacteria, it just kind of went dormant. It hid for a while. It put on a little camouflage, and it looked like one of the cells in your body, so your immune system, the antibiotic, couldn't find it. And then when you quit taking the antibiotic, boom, it just popped back up. It popped its ugly head back up. And so when you're exposed to bacteria and viruses, which we're exposed to every single day, you know, that's in your body. And so the Avenger will take care of that. So I don't take the full dose. I don't take the 8 a day like somebody with Lyme disease would have to take. I just take 2, 3 a day. You know, if I feel something coming on, or let's say I'm hanging around with somebody who's hacking and coughing, or maybe I flew on an airplane where, you know, Andrea and I were talking about this yesterday. If I flew on an airplane, you just know there's somebody on that plane with you that's sick, right? I mean, you just know it. You don't have to wait for them to cough. You know they're sick. If you go in any big buildings like a bank or anything like that, they recirculate the air, and so you're exposed to all that stuff. Just take the Avenger, right? Just take it. If you're taking 2 a day, that bottle's going to last you for 4 months, right? I mean, because a normal daily dosage, if you got Lyme disease, at 8 a day, and so you're just taking a quarter dose. So, and then I recommend it as well with people that have cancer. And the reason I do that is because most people with cancer, you know, most people with cancer don't die from cancer, right? They die from an infection. So I like using Avenger with people that have cancer, especially if they've got stage 4. I'll throw them on the Avenger right away. I'll put them on the 8 a day, just like they have Lyme disease, you know. Why not?
Right. Well, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
That leads right into another question that someone wanted asked today, which was, There's this condition that happens when you do have cancer cells, and it's where they explode, and I can't remember the name of that. What is that again?
Apoptosis.
Apoptosis. And do we have products where the ingredients through research have proven that it creates apoptosis?
You bet. Yeah, because what happens is when you take a look at certain ingredients, and the drug companies are trying to come up with a drug that will recreate the same thing that the nutrition products do, and they do something that's called what it does is it cuts off the blood supply to the tumor, and when it cuts off the blood supply to the tumor, what it does is it causes the cancer cell to go into this apoptosis. And so a number of things that do that is the fucoidan, right? And if you read up on fucoidan, go on Amazon, order the book. It's called The Amazing Powers of Fucoidan. They use the chemical name for fucoidan. It's Fucoidan. We use, our own spelling for it, but they use, the Fucoidan. But The Amazing Powers of Fucoidan. And you order that book, and I'll tell you what, you'll have everybody taking fucoidan after they read that book. I mean, I recommend fucoidan to everybody. But what it does is it cuts off the blood supply, the anti-angiogenesis, right? Cutting off the new blood supply to the tumor. And then the other one, and the other one that does that is the Eternity. And Eternity has resveratrol, and resveratrol also does the anti-angiogenesis. It cuts off the blood supply to the tumor. And so they work with different kinds of tumors. I really like to use the fucoidan with those kinds of tumors that are more caused by toxins. They're caused by viruses, things like that. And, we can't say cure, we can't say treat, anything like that. So I just want to make that perfectly clear. All we're doing is we're giving the body nutrients, and we're making it so that you have optimum health. And when you have optimum health, you can't get sick, right? I mean, that's a real simple way of explaining it. But I like using the Eternity because of the resveratrol. I'll use that more with those cancers that are caused by hormones, like your estrogens, right? When you have somebody that has an estrogen-dominant cancer, or when they have, like breast cancer or uterine cancer, ovarian cancers, things like that, because those are estrogen-dominant cancers. So I really like using the Eternity for that. And then green tea has anti-angiogenic properties. It'll create apoptosis. Chaga is found in our coffee, but it's also found in the Avenger product, and that causes the anti-angiogenesis. And even fish oils, the super omega, have some anti-angiogenic properties. So they'll all somewhat do that. Vitamin C somewhat does that. So I think I've thrown enough of the ingredients, enough of the products that do that sort of thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's a good example of what people could look into. We have a Father's Day special going on, which includes Sisel's Cafe or coffee. What's so special about Sisel's coffee compounds compared to the ones on the market?
You bet. And that's kind of interesting too. When I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee in my hand right now, and I'm drinking it, and I'm just, I'm thinking back when Sisel first introduced coffee. I'm like, oh no, now we're going to become a coffee company, right? I mean, there's enough coffee companies in the industry, in the network marketing industry. We're going to become a coffee company as well. I'm thinking, crap, that's not what I want to do. Anyhow, I'm glad we did, because here's the deal, is that when you take a look at coffee, when they're roasting the coffee beans, and you may not be aware of this, but when they're roasting the coffee beans, it gives off that really nice aromatic smell. You drive by a barista and you're going, oh, that smells so good, right? If you like coffee, you like that smell. Well, I'm going to tell you, you don't want to breathe that in because it causes popcorn lung. It causes damage to your lung. And the companies that roast coffee, they've actually gotten grandfathered in. The FDA says, well, you don't have to tell your employees that, which is really bad, right? But yeah, you don't want to breathe that in because it can cause it. Well, it does cause popcorn lung, which is an irreversible lung condition. But the other thing is that when you roast a coffee, what are you really doing? Well, in a lot of cases, what they're doing is they're flame roasting, right? You read that on the can, flame roasted, and when they're flame roasting it, they're roasting the coffee beans at 400, 500 degrees. They're burning the coffee beans, and when they burn the coffee beans, they cause something called acrylamides to form in the coffee. And what's so bad about acrylamides? Well, what happens is that acrylamides get in your body and they cause cancer. If you live out in California, Proposition 65, they have to, in every coffee shop, even McDonald's that sells coffee, they have to have a sign in the wall that says, Proposition 65, our coffee causes cancer. It's known to cause cancer in human beings. And they have to do that. Well, I mean, any smart person is going to know, well, if coffee causes cancer in California, it's certainly going to cause cancer in Michigan too, right? I mean, it's that way. But what we do, so we don't get these acrylamides to form, is that we infrared roast our coffee. So what we're doing is we're controlling the temperature. We're not burning the coffee bean. We're keeping the temperature way down low. So we're cooking the coffee bean at a real low temperature. It doesn't burn the coffee bean. And so now we're not getting these acrylamides to form. Then on top of it, what we do so that we get a uniform flavor in our coffee is when we buy the coffee bean, it's actually a geisha, Panama geisha Boquete coffee. It's considered to be the most flavorful coffee on the market. It's won the Taster's Choice Award, International Taster's Choice Award, 14 years in a row, and it's really expensive. When you look at Starbucks, for example, they mix 10% Panama geisha coffee beans into their blend to give their coffee a good flavor. 10%. We use 100% Panama geisha coffee beans, Boquete coffee beans, and what we do is we buy them directly from the growers. We don't have a middleman, and that's how we're able to get the coffee at a really good price. If you buy the coffee, if you buy the Panama coffee from Starbucks, for example, every year they'll put it up for auction and they'll sell it. And I've seen it sell for $180 for a pound of this stuff. And here we're getting 12 ounces or 12 packets of it for about around $20-25, right? And that's because we're buying direct from the grower. But the other thing is not only we do not have the acrylamides form in it, but we actually add a few things. We're adding the chaga, which I talked about. It's got the anti-angiogenic properties. It bumps up the immune system. It keeps your body healthy. Then we've added Ganoderma, which is a mushroom. It's a mushroom extract that's been shown to help with health, and the Chinese have been using it for years. And then we've added Gotu Kola. Gotu Kola is a special herb that has been shown to help with brain function, help prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, but it helps to create new brain connections, rewires the brain so the brain functions properly. And then we have Bacaba. And Bacaba, that's in our TSX product. What Bacaba does, not only does it help out with good brain connections, but it also helps out with your telomeres. And your telomeres, of course, being the fuses on the end of your DNA that kind of controls how long you're going to live. So, again, a little long-winded, but that's our coffee in a nutshell.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I have to keep checking because this button tells me I'm done speaking or not done speaking. So I don't know what's going on there. So I have one more question, but I do want to say that, one thing I really appreciate about Sisel is that all of their ingredients, you're mentioning all these exotic ingredients, their ingredients come in and are double tested by Sisel for quality. And Tom has been known to turn away thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of ingredients because they didn't meet his standards and the standards that we want in our products. So I just really appreciate that. So you know you're getting a good source of these exotic ingredients when you're going through Sisel. So our final question, because we're at the bottom of the hour here, is do some people give the age pill to their pets, and suggestions of how much?
Well, you know, I guess bottom line, the answer is yes. If you look up nicotinamide riboside, if you look up that on the internet, you'll find that they've tested on all sorts of animals. I mean, any living creature could benefit from taking it. From your cat to your dog, if you've got a pet rat, if you've got a snake, any living creature could benefit from nicotinamide riboside, is what they're saying. How much do you give an animal? I'm just going to say with dogs, for example. My thought is that if you got a real small dog, give them like 2 a day. One in the morning, one at night. If you got a medium-sized dog, give them 4 a day, so 2 in the morning, 2 at night. If you got a big, large dog, something over 100 pounds, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid of giving them, like 6 a day, 8 a day. It all depends. It all depends. So like I've got a black lab. My black lab is 85 pounds. He gets 4 a day, every day, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. And, I used to take and I'd hide it in some of those little snacky things, but then he started, he pretty smart dog. He would chew the little snacky thing and he'd spit the pill out. and I got tired of doing that. So now what I do is I give him just a little bowl of milk, and I dump the age pill in the milk, and he laps that right up. He doesn't care. He sees me put it in there, but he drinks it. He gets his age pill every day. And I'll tell you what, after doing that, just like Katie found with her dog, the grayness of the hair is going away. My son was over on Sunday, and he said, "Oh, man, Dad," he said, "Chewy's hair is starting to look less gray," right? And I said, "Yep, he's taking an age pill." So.
Yeah, that's great. And thanks for that little tip about the milk. My neighbor's dog, I tried to put her on the age pill, but she does the same thing. She's really tricky. She'll eat the snack right around that pill and spit the pill out, and then you're sitting there with a sticky pill trying to get it down a dog's throat all day. So yeah. I kind of gave up, but I'll try this milk trick and we'll see how that works.
Yeah, well, just think, a lot of the ingredients you find it in milk anyhow. So it mixes with the milk really good, and they don't seem to bother. Yeah, they probably won't be as effective as if they had it in the pill, because it's not the enteric coated capsule, but it still works.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you again for sharing your knowledge. This was fun. I think we'll do it again. And we welcome you to Michigan. We're really excited that you're going to be here for the next couple of days and share more good news with more people. So thank you, Dr. Kurt.
Thank you. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow, Andrea.
Yes. Bye-bye.